Wife showed zero interest in our marriage while I handled everything at home. Then I found out she was cheating with a coworker and she's pregnant with his baby. I, 35M, have been married to my wife, 37F, for 7 years, and we were together another 3 before that. We have a daughter, 5F, who is the absolute light of my life. On paper, our marriage looks perfect to anyone looking in from the outside. We own a nice house in a good school district, both work full-time, and have what most people would consider a successful life. Her job requires her to travel sometimes and be in the office about 3 days a week. My job doesn't pay as well as hers, but I work completely remote, which lets me handle most of the childcare stuff like taking our daughter to soccer practice, doctor appointments, and generally keeping things running around the house. I try to make sure our daughter has a great childhood despite the fact that her mom isn't around as much. Not that my wife doesn't care about our daughter, she does, but I'm the one handling the day-to-day stuff while she builds her career. And before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't about weight gain or physical appearance or anything like that. I stay pretty active and fit, and my wife is the same. We're both healthy and take care of ourselves. She goes running most mornings when she's home, and I work out in our garage gym a few times a week. That's not the issue here at all. The real problem is that for about the last 4 or so years, my wife has shown basically zero interest in our marriage. She acts more like we're roommates who happen to co-parent than actual partners. There's basically no romance or intimacy anymore. And when I say intimacy, I know some people immediately think I'm just complaining about sex, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about all the little things that make you actually feel like a couple: holding hands, random kisses, cuddling on the couch, actual conversations about our lives. And yeah, sex too, but it's the whole package that's missing. When we first got together, we were that couple that made everyone else roll their eyes because we were so into each other. Always holding hands, leaving little notes for each other, planning surprise dates. The whole thing. I'm not expecting that exact honeymoon phase energy after 10 years, but Jesus, something would be nice. Now she makes it painfully obvious that she isn't interested in any of that stuff. If I try to hold her hand, she'll tolerate it for maybe 30 seconds before finding some reason to need both hands. If I try to kiss her when she gets home from work, she'll turn her head so I get her cheek. If I suggest watching a movie together after our daughter goes to bed, she's suddenly too tired but then stays up scrolling on her phone for another 2 hours. I thought maybe she was just stressed from work or something, so I started trying to take more off her plate at home. I do all the cooking now, most of the cleaning, handle all the childcare logistics. That didn't change anything. If anything, she just seemed to retreat further, like she appreciated having less responsibility at home but didn't see it as a reason to engage more with me. We used to text each other throughout the day, just checking in, sharing funny stories, sending memes, that kind of thing. Now I'm lucky if she responds to direct questions. What time will you be home? Do we need anything from the store? I've tried starting conversations about her work or her day, and I just get one-word answers or it was fine. My wife also shows absolutely no interest in my life anymore. She has forgotten important events like our anniversary and my birthday multiple times. The last time I had a big presentation at work that I was nervous about, I mentioned it at dinner the night before. The next day, not a single text asking how it went. When I brought it up that evening, she said, "Oh right, that was today. How'd it go?" Our last anniversary, I made dinner reservations weeks in advance at this place we'd been wanting to try. Then the day of, she texts me saying she needs to cancel because she has to work late on a Friday and will be traveling for work the following week. Didn't apologize, didn't suggest rescheduling, just can't make it, too busy with work. I ended up ordering a pizza and watching a movie alone after our daughter went to bed. For my birthday last year, she actually forgot completely until her mom called to wish me happy birthday and my wife had to pretend she'd already done so. Then she ran out and bought some random gift card on her way home from work. The year before that, she remembered the day but got me a generic gift that showed zero thought, a wallet, when I had just bought myself a new one 2 months earlier that she had seen me using every day. I honestly don't know what changed. After our daughter was born, sure, things were different for a while, but that's to be expected. But even during that early baby stage, we still felt like a team. We were tired and stressed, but we were in it together. Around the time she turned 1, something just shifted. And it's been getting steadily worse ever since. I used to think maybe my wife was depressed or something, but she doesn't seem unhappy in general. She goes out with her work friends regularly, seems excited about her job promotions and projects, takes care of herself, all that stuff. It's just our marriage that she seems completely checked out of. I've been seeing a therapist for my own stuff for about a year now, and when I brought all this up, they suggested couples therapy and offered to give me some recommendations. When I mentioned this to my wife, She immediately shut it down, saying there's nothing wrong with me, I don't need therapy. She acted like I was accusing her of being crazy or something, which wasn't what I was saying at all. I tried explaining that couples therapy isn't about fixing someone who's broken, it's about improving communication and reconnecting, but she wasn't having it. I feel like I've tried everything I can think of to save our marriage. I've tried giving her space, thinking maybe she just needed some time to herself. I've tried being more attentive and planning special things for her. Nothing has worked. I've tried making so many suggestions for ways we could possibly improve our relationship, family vacation. Our daughter won't appreciate it anyway. What 5-year-old wouldn't want to go to the beach for a few days? She loves the water and sand. But apparently I'm wrong about that. A weekend getaway for just her and me? No, I'm too busy at work right now. Or sometimes it's can't we just spend time together at home? But then when we're at home, she's either working, on her phone, or too tired to do anything. I suggested taking our daughter on a bike ride and going out for lunch on a weekend, thinking maybe a family activity would help. I just want to relax today. And then she spends the day doing laundry and reorganizing her closet, which apparently is more relaxing than a nice bike ride. One time I tried to talk to her about how disconnected I felt, and she accused me of being needy and suffocating her. I was asking for the bare minimum, just some basic attention and affection from my wife, and somehow I was the unreasonable one? I've brought these concerns to her attention multiple times over the years. Each time, things improve for maybe a week or two. She'll make an effort, suggest we watch a movie together, ask about my day, that kind of thing. But then it always slides right back to the status quo. The last serious talk we had about it was maybe 6 months ago. I laid it all out, how lonely I felt, how I missed her, how I wanted us to feel like partners again. She apologized and promised to make more of an effort. For about a week, she was more present. She came home from work on time, asked me questions about my day, even initiated sex once. Then her work got busy again, and it was right back to the same old pattern. Eventually, I just gave up trying to initiate anything with her. I stopped suggesting date nights or family outings. I stopped trying to hold her hand or kiss her. I stopped sharing details about my day or asking about hers beyond basic logistics. I just accepted that this is how things are now. And honestly, it's been fucking miserable. I watched my parents stay in a failing marriage for over a decade for the kids, and all it did was make everyone in the house miserable and give me a completely warped idea of what relationships should look like. My dad was clearly unhappy but just buried himself in work, and my mom was resentful and passive-aggressive all the time. They barely spoke to each other except to argue about bills or logistics about us kids. I promised myself I wouldn't put my own child through that. So recently I started looking for an out. I talked to a lawyer secretly and got divorce papers ready. I can afford a decent condo in town that would keep our daughter in the same school district with her friends. I can't afford our current house by myself, but the condo would be fine for me and my daughter when she's with me. I know some people might think I should have tried harder or been more patient, but honestly, I'm exhausted. I've been trying to keep this marriage alive mostly by myself for years, and I don't have anything left to give. I'm tired of feeling lonely while lying next to someone every night and being treated like I'm asking for the moon when all I want is basic affection and consideration from my wife. Sometimes I wonder if there's someone else. She works late a lot, travels for work, and is constantly on her phone. But I've never found any concrete evidence, and part of me doesn't even want to know. What would it change at this point? Whether she's cheating or just doesn't love me anymore, the result is the same. A couple days ago, when our daughter was at a playdate, I finally confronted my wife. I told her straight up that I am seriously considering leaving her since I feel like I don't matter to her and our relationship is never a priority. I told her I have an exit plan ready, and if she doesn't make actual, lasting changes by the new year, I'm going to file for divorce and go for full custody. She was completely blindsided and we got into a huge fight. She basically told me I was manipulative and an asshole for dropping this on her out of nowhere. She said I was emotional blackmailing her by threatening her with divorce and custody. I told her that none of this would be an issue if she cared about us or at least pretended to. I told her I don't want our daughter to grow up seeing how unhealthy our relationship is and thinking that's normal. She accused me of being selfish and only thinking about my own needs. She said she's been working hard to provide for our family and that I should be more understanding of how stressful her job is. I pointed out that I've been understanding for years, and that lots of people have stressful jobs without completely checking out of their marriages. The fight lasted for hours, with a lot of back and forth and bringing up old grievances. At one point she accused me of being jealous of her career success, which is ridiculous. I've always been supportive of her professional goals. I'm the one who encouraged her to take the promotion that required more travel because I knew it was what she wanted, even though it meant more responsibilities for me. The fight ended with her storming out and staying at her sister's place. She came back the next day to get some clothes and stuff for work, and now we're doing this weird dance where we're both civil for our daughter's sake but not really talking to each other beyond necessary logistics. She keeps giving me these looks like I'm the one who destroyed everything. I know the ultimatum was harsh, and maybe I could have approached it differently. But I've spent years trying to talk to her about this, trying to fix things, trying to matter to her again. And nothing has changed. So Ida, for what I said and how I approached the situation? I truly don't know if I'm being unreasonable here or if my expectations of marriage are just too high. I just know I can't keep living like this. Edit, just to address some common comments, yes, I have brought up my concerns about our marriage to her multiple times over the years. Things usually improve for a short while but are quickly back to the status quo in a week or two. And no, I don't have any evidence of cheating, though obviously I can't know for sure. She works long hours and travels for work, so technically it would be possible. But I'm more inclined to think she just fell out of love with me and doesn't have the guts to end things. Also, to the people suggesting I should just get a hobby or focus on myself, I do have hobbies. I play guitar, I go hiking when I can find someone to watch our daughter. Having interests outside my marriage is not the issue. The issue is that I'm in a marriage that feels completely one-sided and empty. Update 1. It's been a crazy couple of weeks unfortunately. I want to clear up a few things from the comments first. To everyone saying I was an asshole for threatening to go for full custody, yeah, you're right. I was angry and frustrated and said something I shouldn't have. That was a dick move on my part. I know our daughter needs both parents in her life, and I would never actually try to keep them apart unless there was some serious safety concern, which there isn't. My wife might not be a great partner, but she loves our daughter. To all the people who kept insisting she was cheating, congratulations, you were right. My marriage is over, and after talking to my wife, I realized it has been for a long time. The day after my post, I began the divorce process with my lawyer. She has been cheating for around 4 years now, which lines up almost exactly with when she started withdrawing from our marriage. It's been with a coworker, how fucking original, right? Apparently they started as just friends who would get lunch together during work, then drinks after work, and eventually. Well, you know how these things go. Her explanation was that she felt unattractive after having our child, and I was busy with work and childcare. She said she wasn't planning on it happening, but this guy made her feel seen and appreciated in a way she hadn't felt in a long time. More recently, she admitted she has developed feelings for him and was considering leaving me for him anyway, which she is now free to do. When I found out, I was surprisingly calm. I think part of me had suspected it for a while, and honestly, it was almost a relief to finally know the truth. It explained so much about her behavior over the past few years. When I gave her the ultimatum, she was surprised that I was actually considering leaving her. She thought I knew about the affair already and was just trying to make her feel guilty or something? I don't know what kind of mental gymnastics that requires, but whatever. She said she'd been dropping hints that she was unhappy, as if that justified everything. Like I was supposed to pick up on her subtle cues and somehow conclude, oh, my wife is clearly having an affair, I should be more understanding. After the initial confrontation, we had a long, painful conversation about what had led us to this point. She tried to put some of the blame on me, saying I had been emotionally distant after our daughter was born. I reminded her that I was the one who had been trying to connect with her for years while she shut me out. She had no real response to that. We agreed to try to keep things as amicable as possible for our daughter's sake. No point in dragging each other through the mud any more than necessary. We're both going to need to co-parent for many years to come, so we might as well find a way to be civil. We sat our daughter down together and explained that we are splitting up but we both love her more than anything. We kept it simple, emphasizing that it wasn't her fault and that both mommy and daddy would still be in her life every day. My daughter was understandably upset and is having a tough time with everything. She asked if we could all still live together, which broke my heart. I've been looking into therapy options for her and have made it clear that she can always tell me how she's feeling. This is honestly the hardest part of everything so far. Telling our families was another nightmare. My parents were supportive but sad. They've always liked my wife, and I think they had hopes we would work things out somehow. Her parents were more complicated. Her dad seemed disappointed in her, while her mom kept trying to suggest ways we could fix things, as if there was anything left to fix at this point. My sister was furious on my behalf and wanted all the details of the affair, which I refused to give. I don't see how rehashing it all would help anyone. We also had to tell our friends, which was awkward as hell. Most of them were couples we'd known for years. Some took sides immediately, others tried to stay neutral. A few admitted they'd suspected something was wrong for a while but didn't know how to bring it up. One of my wife's friends actually confessed she knew about the affair but didn't tell me because she didn't want to get involved. That friendship is over, obviously. My wife and I are going to stay geographically close for our daughter's sake. I'm moving into a condo in early January, and my wife is going to move in with her coworker about 15 minutes away. With the sale of our house, I'll be able to pay off a large portion of my new place, which is something at least. I've been house hunting for a few weeks now, which is a whole other level of stress I didn't need. The real estate market in our area is brutal right now, but I think I've found a decent place. It's smaller than our house, obviously, but it has a nice little yard and a second bedroom for my daughter. It's in a complex with a pool, which I know she'll love in the summer. According to the lawyer, we can have everything wrapped up by New Year's if it goes smoothly, but with the holidays coming up, I'll be happy with early January. There's a lot of paperwork and financial stuff to sort through. Luckily, we're both being relatively reasonable about the division of assets. We're going to split custody, with me having the weekdays and my wife having weekends. It's not ideal, but it's what works with our schedules. In the meantime, I'm going to start rebuilding my life. I didn't get married with the intention of getting divorced, but here we are. I'm going to work on myself and my relationship with my daughter. I'm planning to surprise her with a trip to Disney this winter. It'll be expensive as hell, but I really want to make her happy and create some happy memories. I'm going to miss her on weekends. This whole situation still feels surreal sometimes. I'll be going about my day, and suddenly it hits me, I'm getting divorced. My marriage is over. It's a lot to process. Maybe one day I'll explain all this to my daughter when she's older and we can talk about it more. For now, I'm just focused on being the best dad I can be. Thanks again for all the support and advice. It really helped to have outside perspectives during this whole mess. Update 2, hello again. I figured I would give one final update since some people have been messaging me asking how things turned out. My divorce has been finalized, and I feel both exhausted and relieved. This was the longest 9 months of my life, and I'm happy it's finally over. I do feel a little empty inside sometimes, but I know that will pass eventually. First off, thanks to everyone who sent supportive messages. It really helped during some of the darker moments of this process. There were definitely days when I questioned everything and wondered if I was making a huge mistake, so having that reassurance from strangers on the internet was surprisingly comforting. My ex-wife dragged parts of the process out more than needed, even though she said she doesn't want to drag it out and divorce amicably, which was frustrating as hell. Just when I thought we had everything settled, she'd bring up some new issue or demand. She kept changing her mind about the division of personal property. First she didn't want the dining set, then she suddenly decided it had sentimental value, then she didn't want it again. The back and forth was exhausting. She ended up finding her own place instead of moving in with the coworker like she planned, which she was not happy about. Apparently things weren't as perfect with him as she thought they'd be. From what I've gathered, their relationship started hitting some rocky patches once it was out in the open and they had to deal with real life stuff instead of just the exciting sneaking around phase. I can't say I'm surprised. She's also pregnant now, but neither of those things are my problem anymore. I found out through our daughter, who innocently mentioned that mommy has a baby in her tummy. That was a fun conversation. Apparently she's about 4 months along, which means she got pregnant right around the time all this was blowing up. She and the coworker are still together as far as I know, though I've heard it's been tense. I ended up with primary custody of our daughter. I get most weeknights and most weekends, plus travel. This wasn't what we originally planned, but my ex's situation changed and this arrangement works better for everyone involved right now. She still sees our daughter regularly, but with her morning sickness and general pregnancy exhaustion, plus her job, she agreed that our daughter would have more stability with me as the primary. My daughter and I are both doing well and adjusting to things. She still asks sometimes when we're all going to live together again, which is tough, but those questions are getting less frequent. She's seeing a therapist who is helping her work through her emotions, and I tried to make the holidays special for her. The Disney trip was a hit, by the way. Expensive as hell, but worth every penny to see her that happy. We went for 4 days and did all the princess stuff she wanted. She got to meet Elsa, which was apparently the highlight of her entire life so far. I've got about 1,000 pictures of her grinning with various Disney characters. Those memories are priceless. This will be my last update. I'm ready to close this chapter and move forward with my life. Thanks for listening to my story and for all the support along the way.